Hi class, this is your philosophy lecture for the second class of the semester, which is meeting or has met now on Thursday, March 25th. So yoga philosophy comes from India. It's really ancient and deep and spiritual. I think now in this present day context, we think of yoga as mostly the postures. Yoga studios are kind of fitness places, but there are a lot more deeper layers to yoga, which is something I hope that you will learn and take with you throughout the semester. So there are 8 limbs of yoga, and they're these: Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Dhyana, Dharana, Pratyahara, and Samadhi. You might think, well, that sounds like a foreign language, because it is. It's Sanskrit, which is the language yoga is kind of recorded in. So the 8 limbs of yoga is how we can really practice yoga in its entirety. In this first class, the theme today is Yama. So the first limb are kind of the no's, are social restraints or observances, stopping the causing of suffering. And the first 2 limbs, Yama and Niyama, have been compared to the 10 Commandments. They're kind of these guidelines to keep us on our spiritual path, our path of goodness. So Yama is the social restraint, yoga guidelines, ethical disciplines, precepts, restraints, observances. They're also referred to jewels, rare gems of wisdom that give direction to a well-lived and joyful life. Ethical guidelines from the Yoga Sutras, guardrails to keep us on our path. One of my teachers, Stephanie Steiner, says, no Yama, no yoga. So we need these ethical commandments to live a really well-rounded life. She also says, there is no way that your life won't change and improve drastically if you apply these principles rigorously to your life. And we want to think of the yamas through our mind, our thought, our deed. So filtering through these lenses. The first yama is ahimsa, which means nonviolence, non-harming. And it's the first on purpose because it's the most important. It can also be translated as compassion. And we want to approach every aspect of our life through this lens, thought, word, and deed. So you can think about the food you eat. Does violence affect anyone by what you're consuming? So if you eat meat, fish, eggs, which I do, but a lot of yoga practitioners will be vegan or vegetarian as a practice of ahimsa. The media you consume, the TV you watch, and the podcasts you listen to, and the music, is it violent, even in like subtle ways? And what is the voice in your head like? Have you ever noticed that kind of internal dialogue? This great book, it's called The Untethered Soul. The author, Michael Singer, talks about the roommate in your head. So do you kind of go like, oh, you're so stupid. I can't believe you slept through your alarm. Oh my God, that was so dumb. Like, are your internal thoughts violent? So taking an inventory. So this first yama, non-violence, ahimsa. The second yama is satya, which means truthfulness, honesty in our thoughts, words, and actions. So you might think like, oh, I don't like blatantly lie. I'm truthful. But you can kind of go layers deeper. Like, what is your deep inner truth? Is there something you're hiding or concealing? You know, are you in a relationship and you kind of like play it off like you don't want something, but you do? You know, are you living your authentic self? Are you in college because you want to be, or because your parents want you to be? You know, because society tells you need to go to college to have a good life. So, satya. The next is asteya, which means non-stealing. Again, you might think, I don't shoplift. I'm good on that one, but you can think about layers of, like, you steal time. So if you're someone who's chronically late, you're stealing that person's time when they're waiting for you. You can also have asteya like to yourself. Are you stealing your own time by like scrolling on Instagram for hours a day? Do you gossip? Are you stealing someone's reputation? So looking at these again through a broad lens. The next yama is brahmacharya. This used to be translated as celibacy, sexual continence. When Patanjali, who wrote the Yoga Sutras, first wrote these, recorded them 5,000 years ago, a long time ago. But most of us are not Brahmins, right? We're not monks, we're householders. We have families, we live with people, we're beings, human beings with needs and urges and wants. So a more modern translation of brahmacharya is right use of your energy, of your sexual energy. And I think that gets a little more complicated if you think about a more modern relationship, maybe like a polyamorous relationship where you have multiple partners. You can still practice brahmacharya, but you want to be honest in all of your relationships. So not using sex or flirting to get things or to use people. If you're hooking up with someone and it's harming them, really think about that. That's not a good use of your energy or their energy. So you can think about it if you're in a committed relationship, not doing anything away from your partner that you wouldn't do in front of them. So if you're going to flirt with your friend, you would do that in front of your partner, maybe if that was okay, but you wouldn't if he wasn't there, or she or they. So honoring ahimsa and satya and asteya in our relationships. Having accountability around sexuality and our relationship towards it. The last yama is apigraha. Apigraha, which means non-hoarding or possessiveness, non-grasping. Sometimes we kind of collect clothes or shoes or, for yoga practitioners, like yoga videos or yoga poses. And when we hoard, we take away from others if we're being really greedy. So if we're always grasping for more, that strengthens this feeling of discontent. So we only want to take what we need and leave more for others. And so that within us, there's no lack. Like, do you ever buy something and hope it'll make you feel really good, and it does for a second, but then you need more? So we want to be really disciplined in what we value, what we want to collect. And a way you can really put apigraha into action is give to charity, go on a shopping freeze, do a gentler yoga practice. So this is your first limb of yoga, yama, social restraints, ahimsa, nonviolence, satya, truthfulness, brahmacharya, right use of energy, and apigraha, non-hoarding. Next week we'll go over the niyamas, and thanks for watching. Namaste.